name is Jonathan Gonzalez, and my category number is 9089. And today I will be introducing to you guys my magazine, Age of Decadence. To start off, my first question would be, how does your product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? Well, my product uses conventions of, of bizarre in-depth photos with simple text of Age of Decadence. For instance, my magazine cover uses a photo of a edgy fashion teen at the bottom of the staircase as the central image, but this staircase has meaning because it shows how he's just starting in his career and will rise his way up to the top of the staircase. Additionally, the brand that he is wearing is his own brand, and that is the main focus of the magazine. I use Vice conventions as a base for mine since Vice typically has photos with in-depth meaning that give you a sneak peek of what's to come, but leaves the audience with the peeking question of what's the story behind it. So I want people who see my cover to ask the same questions of who's the strange teenager on these staircases, and why is he so important to be on the cover? What's the story? Additionally, I also took into account of adding a direct mode of address, which is addressing audiences with what's to come. Direct mode of address is typically used to address younger audiences since the little amount of text in the cover, but there's also a vast amount of image that creates a sense of adventure that they have to open up the magazine to find out the rest. And this my magazine also represents social groups and issues of young teens and adults who have a dream, but nobody sees it, and I put it to spotlight. This issue in particular represents AJ and his brand and how he wants to grow it. Moreover, how does your product engage with audiences, and how would it be distributed as real media text? My product engages with the audience by showing the clothes Unfazed has to offer to the audience, and also provides the brand's social media and website to purchase the owner's clothes. For my plan on distribution, I plan on distributing my magazine through Amazon magazine subscriptions to save my money on distribution. Since it will cost less to make, since all the cost is going into mainly design of the magazine instead of the design, production, and advertisement. I'm cutting it down to advertisement and just design, and don't have to worry about production costs because the design cost is the production cost since I'm cutting out the middleman. Now I mainly focus on my advertisement, which is an audience targeted towards people in the age of 18 through 34, which is basically the youth. And I will be advertising my magazine through social media, since that age group demographic typically spends their majority of their time on social media, meaning that they have the highest chances of being interested in viewing my magazine. And I also researched Vice's audience, and I want the same. I want to target my magazine towards the same audience as them, which is typically open-minded youth with a bunch of free time on their hands that are typically on social media a lot, trying to expand their knowledge because they're curious and they're trying to influence other people, as you can see. On to the next question of how did your production skills develop? My production skills developed because when I first began the magazine, I had no idea how to use InDesign really. But I quickly learned the ways around InDesign to building magazine covers, but I also learned that InDesign isn't really meant to be used standalone at all times and should be combined with Photoshop, since InDesign is more of a way to gently organize neat designs and text together. For example, to create my title of my magazine cover, I had to go into Photoshop and create my title text alone in order to get the special design inside with the sad face and shadow in the text, then dragged it in over to InDesign where I managed to organize it into the cover of the title. And as you can see here, I implemented the sad face on the top right of the cover title, and I also implemented the sad face inside the O of the of to remind how it's pretty edgy. Furthermore, how did you integrate technologies, software, hardware, and online in this project? Well, the technology I invested into this project was my phone camera, and that's the camera that I used for the majority of my photos that I shot for this whole project with all my photo shoots. And I also integrated InDesign and Photoshop software in this whole project. I created I used Photoshop to create my cover text for my magazine cover and used InDesign to set up the format for a magazine spread and cover. And really used the power of the shadow to emphasize the eerie feel of the magazine and the edgy feel with all the sad faces and the bummed out, numb, unfazed feel of the title. Since this is the unfazed edition of my Age of Decadence cover magazine. Also, while using InDesign, I typically was getting really frustrated because I didn't really know how to organize all my text and everything on my table of contents, but I managed to get around to it and learn that you can change the rulers from pitas, I think if I can recall, to inches or centimeters or meters, which is a big difference. And I changed it to inches, and this cover, for instance, was 11.5 inches, and I just subtracted 11.5. I just divided 11.5 by 2 and put it right in the middle, and that helped me set up the text for the table of contents on InDesign. So those rulers really helped a lot, and that's gonna help me out a lot with all my future product projects because I'm definitely gonna be more organized in my designs.